Everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and we are going to do a double feature of the Colorado, the Buckin Bronco, which is actually what the USS Colorado's name actually was back in World War II. So, pretty cool ship, and I've been enjoying the hell out of it for the most part. Today was an exercise in frustration on the stream, but you can't win them all. However, this was from Monday's stream, or it was either Sunday or Monday, both of these games, and they were excellent in rather different ways. So first things first, pay attention to this shot. It's not a devastating strike, it's not even the Citadel, but consider the range that this Miyoko's at, and pay attention to how tight this grouping for the Colorado is, and this is why I love the capability of the ship. You know, when things like this happen, like, I mean, oh man, just the slightest little adjustment there and he would have been nuked. I mean, there's no question about that. Any ship would have actually. But yeah, unfortunately that didn't happen, but I'll get back to that guy in a moment. I did want to mention that Dr. Citadel and Autism Speaks, they have set up a TeamSpeak server and have invited myself and Kami, and I'm sure a number of others to join and basically try to help develop a community where, you know, there's, if you have questions, if you want a division with people that know their stuff and, you know, who play at a high level. And it's not about elitism, I promise you that. It is strictly about making people better and developing a community where there is more fact and less misinformation, because, you know, there are some bright spots on the forum, there really are, but there's so much misinformation and bad suggestions and things like that. People a lot of times have no idea what the hell they're talking about. You know, somebody who has played 20 games in the destroyer wants to talk about how destroyers are overpowered and so on and so forth, or is trying to give somebody, you know, pro tips on how to play a destroyer, that sort of thing. You know, a lot of shit that just doesn't make sense. So why not get to the practical nature of it, get in the game and talk to people who know the game and who also have a lot to learn as well. Because, I mean, fact of the matter is, I mean, I play battleships, but I don't know honestly how a lot of the shell mechanics work. I don't know how the overmatch mechanic works, for instance, and how that relates to, you know, particular ship's armor. I don't know some weak spots, so on and so forth. And this is a class that I've played, you know, 1800 matches in since the start of CBT. So I know how to play them, I just don't know exactly what's going on. So in that respect, I have a lot to learn, and, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there who would love to learn those types of things too, and I'm sure somebody eventually will be able to teach me. And speaking of battleship mechanics, I am holding off on firing at this guy for the reason that I know he's going to have to turn because he's in the tight channel there. So I launched my scout plane, giving me a little bit of a better view, and boom, 21,000 damage, just like that. So Dayax is going to come in and finish the job. Well, actually, he's not going to finish the job. He inflicts a little bit more damage on the guy with torpedo bombers. And Kami, by the way, I don't know what's been up with him and the Pensacola, but he's been riding that Pensacola train like crazy lately, and he's been doing a fantastic job. So pay attention to his base XP at the end of this round when I show the result screen. It's pretty good, but I know he's had a lot of really good rounds lately in that. But one of the main things that, you know, people ask me to do is to put up a video on how to Citadel ships and things like that, and I'm going to make the suggestion that you join me on, well, actually, assuming that we have the training room available by Saturday with Aslan's mod pack, I would highly recommend, if that's available, to download Aslan's mod pack, and we enable training room. You jump into TeamSpeak with me, and we can have a training session on how to hit particular ships at, you know, various angles, what works, what doesn't work, and you know, we can just spend like an hour or something like that going through the training room and testing things out, so you guys can maybe learn a little bit and, you know, kind of get a feel for how to do certain things. But looks like I could use the training room again here because I missed that horribly. That was awful. Not gonna lie, sometimes I need a bit of a warm-up. But this was at the end of the stream anyway, so that's what I'll chalk it up to. I am targeting these planes, by the way. It's a replay bug, so you can't see me do it, but I am trying to shoot all these bastards down. But anyways, I would extend an invite to you guys who, you know, have asked that question before or who are curious to swing by on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and I'll leave the TeamSpeak info in the description, and you know, feel free to join in, and you know, hopefully we can improve some of your skills and, you know, talk about the game a bit. And I'll be streaming the whole thing as well, so it should be a bit of a different approach for me, a little bit more of a challenge. So back to the match though. I unfortunately fired 3 turrets at the Aoba that got nuked by Kami, and I said screw it, I've got 1 turret left. That Miyoko at the beginning that I hit, there he is, and there he goes. So detonation, poor guy. But he was cool about it actually. If you notice in chat, he actually says good shot, so don't see that very often these days. I don't think I've ever said that to anybody, but I tend to be a little bit more reserved in that respect, so I don't say good game either, because generally somebody on the other team didn't have a good game. I'll say it in my team chat, but I won't say it in the all chat. I'm kind of weird like that, so whatever. But now things start to get a little bit more interesting. So there's another Miyoko, and I do fire 3 turrets actually at the Ranger in the background. Again, stupid targeting thing with the replays, but I wanted to try to scare him off a little bit. The Miyoko that I thought was going to advance upon me, and it turns out there's a Cleveland over there as well. So I have kind of walked into... I've overextended at this point. It's very obvious I have, but I'm feeling confident that I'm going to have some, you know, backup, whether it's from teammates or, you know, I'm going to be able to land a couple shots that'll hopefully change things. And I really thought I'd get a little bit more than that and hopefully tilt things back into my favor, but that didn't happen. Now, luckily for me, there was a New York that decided to just creep along in nice and slow. I mean, it's in New York, so he doesn't really have much of an option on whether or not it's slow. And he's just sitting broadside to me. So I did anticipate the torps. I was already making my move there, of course, trying to make sure that I didn't get hit by those, because damn, the Miyoko is just a nasty shit for the Colorado to face. It really is. Between the torps, which this ship, despite the massive torpedo bulges, does not do very well against torpedoes, at least in my experience. They always seem to just really, really hurt. And, you know, not in a way that, like, well, no shit, all ships get hurt by them. For some reason, it just feels, maybe it's just because of the smaller health pool, it feels like it's a much more critical type of damage than, like, say, on a Nagata or something else, because you only have 50,000 health to work with. Now, the Ranger is trying to run away, and I failed miserably at hitting him up to this point, where I get a regular hit, a Citadel, and then I get another regular hit in Citadel. And I secured Confederate and High Caliber at that point. And this Cleveland was giving me all sorts of trouble. I just could not hit the damn guy. So the Ranger comes back into view, tries sending off another salvo to him, trying to just finish him off, because I want my damn Kraken at this point. I've already done 120,000 damage after all. And that previous salvo didn't do it, but I get another one in here as I'm still getting set on fire and peppered by the Cleveland, but I hit, if you watch that again, I hit at the very tip of the flight deck, and that's what kills him. Like, whatever. So the Cleveland gets away from my guns. However, Kami is right ahead from me, and he's plotted an intercept course this whole time. I mean, he had this guy in his eyes, in his sights the whole time. And I'm going to switch up here. I'm going to launch my scout plane, and you're going to see his shells going right there. Ding ding. Definitely a couple citadels there. So Kraken, I had fireproof, high caliber, Confederate. Number of citadels, 29 planes shot down. I was pretty happy with that, especially considering it was a Ranger. So that was pretty good. 2,751 base XP. Kami with 2,269, and Dayax rounded out the top 3 with us in his Hiryu. Again, good solid accuracy, nice solid damage, nothing wrong there. And now we're going to switch things up and go to, in my opinion, the worst map in the game. So we're on Ocean, and if you take a look at the clock top left, we are almost 6.5 minutes in, and take a look at my damage. I've done nothing. This North Carolina has been a thorn in my side this whole match so far, and I haven't been able to hit him. I switched to HE. I set one damn fire. I couldn't even hit him then with HE, and I wasn't doing any damage. So I was pretty frustrated at this point. And I wanted to mention at the start of this match, there was some banter back and forth. The enemy team had mentioned that we were screwed by the matchmaker because they have 3 North Carolinas and a Nagato, and we have our 3 Colorados and a New Mexico. Kami and I are in the Colorados. We have Slap in our division as well, and he's running his Pensacola. And you know, we're staying relatively tight, but I'm in a really bad position here because see where that North Carolina is? There's another North Carolina and a Nagato that are right there. They've been harassing me this whole time, so that's been preventing me from being able to bring all of my guns to bear for the most part in the opportunities that, like this, where the North Carolina actually did show his side. Up until this point, I hadn't been able to do any damage to him, and luckily he had weathered quite a bit of a storm. He really did. He did a good job mitigating a lot of that damage, but at some point you gotta turn, and you know, that's when we really dumped a lot of damage into him. And these guys, the cruisers, did a good job setting his ass on fire too, so that was a big help. There isn't actually, the Nagato is back that way, right on the blue line, as you can see to the right of the screen. There is an enemy York coming up here now, and this is very unfortunate. I was hoping for something a little bit more, and I think you guys know what I mean. But yeah, oh well. I know the last 2 turrets that I fired, all of those shots went right into the water. They just dropped right down. That was almost more like a North Carolina type of dispersion than the Colorado, or you know, what I've been used to with the Colorado, I should say. Now I am turning around and gonna dump a load of shells into the Nagato here. I take an extra second to aim that though. I was trying to see if he'd move one way or another on the blue line. Well, that certainly makes me feel a little better. So, I mean, we're 9 minutes into the match, and I finally get something substantial. So, you know, about time. And, yeah, I've said it before. Sometimes that's all it takes, is just getting some hits on an enemy, and next thing you know, it starts to roll. I mean, it's not like I end up with 150,000 damage this match or something, but considering how long it's taken to even get any tangible damage, it actually works out pretty well. So the funny thing about this though is, you know, I've been taking a lot of punishment from the enemy battleships, and we've been able to keep because that attention's been on me, the cruisers have been able to do their job, and you know, now there's only 2 destroyers and 2 battleships, and the Farragut, as you can see in the top right, the health pool on that is pretty low. So, you know, these guys have been doing work, and the thing is, if you're not doing damage, then you should be taking damage. That is a very, very important key to being in my opinion, an excellent all-round battleship player. And protecting your health pool means nothing when you can fill that health pool back up. If you're talking about a Pensacola that can't defend himself in that respect, in terms of, once he's into a fight, he's into it. And like on this particular map, there's no place to go. And you can see Slap's health pool here gets taken down pretty quickly. And I'm trying to line up a shot. I'm trying to figure out which battleship I'm going to shoot at. And I decide to go with the right one as the Farragut takes out Slap. The reason why I'm shooting at the North Carolina on the right is because I can stay angled against both of the North Carolinas. And I'm able to do damage to at least one of them. So now I have the Farragut closing in on me. And I'm in an interesting spot here. Now, the North Carolina directly ahead of my bow, he just fired. So I have about 20 seconds before more shells come in. I was waiting for that salvo to come in so I can start turning. I double checked the other North Carolina's turrets to see where he's at, and I decided to go ahead and bring my ship all the way around to deal with the Farragut. My first salvo, I wanted to see what he would do. It was testing the waters, and I patiently shoot the remaining turrets. Boom, get the kill. And unfortunately, I didn't turn enough in the time allotted to be able to avoid some serious damage there from the other North Carolina. So, I think that was actually a fair trade, because one, he didn't do more damage to me, and none of those torpedoes are in the water, so I think that's good. So I was having some trouble with aiming here, as you could tell, and I'm trying to get alongside of this guy because I know he came to a stop, or he slowed down considerably. This guy's turning in, so I'm not going to be able to shoot him effectively, but I need that guy to start moving a little bit and to show some of his side, because there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to get him otherwise. And so we still have the Bliskavitsa, or whatever the hell, the Blitz, I'll call it. That is still out there, and you can see the shells coming in. Kami just nailed the shit out of that guy, took out a ton of health off him, and put us in a much better position now where we can kind of bully these guys. So the Aoba ignored Kami's suggestion to go to their cap, and which would have drawn the destroyer away. And instead comes up and supports us. And we have I think it's another Colorado who's going to the enemy cap. So I'm getting along the backside of the other North Carolina in the back, and this North Carolina has only 100 plus health, and for some reason he's still alive. So definitely one of those situations where when a battleship is really low on health, you've just got to kill him. And the potential damage from any one of those shells is it's nerve-wracking to be taken out or be severely damaged by somebody who is just a sliver away from death. But the North Carolina has been forced to turn, and I sink a hell of a lot of damage into him with the pair of citadels. And now the Blitz has been spotted. He's shown up on as fully unconcealed. So he's firing away with his guns, and now this is interesting. I don't think I've actually ever really citadeled a North Carolina in this manner, but pay attention to the very first set of shells that come out of the it'll be the A turret, so the first ones that fire. So pay attention to those two that are right side by side. It goes right underneath the A turret. Boom. I don't think I've ever done that before against the North Carolina, so unexpected, but it was a huge help. Kami finishes the guy off, and now we're in a much better position. It's 3 Colorados, of all things, we're the ones that survived against the Blitz. And I haven't really played against this too much, directly. I've definitely been peppered by these a few times, but compared to a Benson or Fubuki, I'm not really all that familiar with this ship. I know it's a great gunboat and has pretty rapid torpedo reload as well. So Kami does a good job dodging his torps right there. And the guy's still firing away, and he's moving forward a bit too fast, so he's throwing himself out of his own smoke. And I'm lining up the shots and trying to see if I can get a decent hit. I think that was HE from Kami there. But I get the kill since he got the North Carolinas. So we finished that match. Not big damage numbers or anything. It got Confederate right at the end, I think. And, you know, it was a much more technical match than the first one. I mean, lower damage numbers. But I got to say, I'm much more happy with this and how I played than the other one, oddly enough. But anyways, just wanted to give you guys another look at the Colorado, and I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave comments in the section below, and join me, assuming that we have the training room enabled with Aslan's mod pack on Saturday, and at 3 p.m. Eastern, join me in TeamSpeak. I'll leave that info down below, and just enjoy this bonus outro video clip, but I'll see you back here soon, guys. Take care.